Hey guys, so I just wanted to make this quick video explaining how I use content not only to book a ton more meetings, but also how it makes sales and selling incredibly easy. And honestly, the entire acquisition journey from marketing to sales, posting content has been the best decision that I've ever made in doing this. And I've met no one, never, that said content has been unproductive or not useful in the act of signing clients. So what I'm going to go over is why I started, how I started, and how I'd recommend that you can do the exact same to see these sort of returns. And the best part is it doesn't require 10 hours per day of work, an entire production team, and all these crazy things. As you can see, my production quality is a Loom video. I'm talking over a Miro board, a couple Google Docs, and using Loom. So as you can tell, it doesn't require that much. So before I get into it, if you don't know who I am, my name's Ethan Welby, co-founder of Agency Growth Partner. We've been helping tons of established marketing agencies build acquisition machines, scale up, book many meetings, increase revenue. And if you want more information on how we do this, you can just check this link. It'll be in the description of this video. And yeah, so let's get into it. So to give a quick overview of my story in terms of why I posted content. When I first started out running my lead generation agencies, so this was booking meetings for agencies, right? I had the approach of, hey, I don't need to post content. I don't really want to be famous. I just want to sign clients, get great results, make money, and then have a great life, right? I don't need to be on YouTube talking about 5 millionaire morning routine hacks. But then I realized that all the people that I looked up to, right? All the people in the space. So the people that I used to see, Sam Ovens, Grant Cardone, Eman, all these people online, Alex Becker, all these people were posting content, right? And at the same time, right before this realization, I was struggling to make sales because I would be getting onto calls with people, right? I'd reach out to them. I'd say, hey, I can get you more bookings. I can get you more leads. They'll be like, yes, okay. And when I got onto the calls, people didn't know who I was. People would forget who I was by the time I even got onto the call. That's how bad it was, right? They'd book a meeting with me and forget who I was when I got onto the call. So as you can imagine, most of the actual sales calls was just me explaining like, yeah, I messaged you 2 days ago. We spoke about this. You sure you remember or that you forgot? They're like, I don't know who you are. And that obviously resulted in sales becoming incredibly difficult because they didn't know who I was firstly. So it took forever to explain that. And by the time I did that, the allocated time was done and they were like, yeah, I need to think about it. Okay. And the worst part is there was nothing about me online. There was no website. There was no LinkedIn. There was no anything because I was using email. So because there was nothing, I just had no establishment. So when they got off the call and they wanted to check what I do, there was nothing to check, right? So at this time, I was like, am I just terrible at sales? And what I realized is that I wasn't necessarily bad at sales. I just wasn't leveraging, anything else, any assets, any websites, any social proof, anything to this degree. So this is when I realized, like, why are these other guys getting such great results? Why are all these guys on YouTube generating millions while I'm struggling to do, a single sales call? And that's when I realized the big names are the big names in the space, not necessarily because they have the best business, even though they do have great businesses, but because they posted content about it, right? And that's when I realized that I need to do the same, right? And anyone that's not doing it is most likely struggling because they could be seeing much higher returns from the content. So what I started by doing, and I'm getting messages here, but what I started by doing, right? And I just want to start by saying that I was not open to doing video at all, right? I didn't want to get on camera, didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want any of that. So I started on LinkedIn, right? And I started by just doing basic text posts, just speaking about the things that I've done. So while I was booking meetings, while I was learning things, I would just, every single day, every single morning, I would get on and I would just talk about it. I'd say like, hey, I just ran this campaign. What I learned is that these are the things that work, these what don't work. So I'd recommend you do the same if you're looking to book meetings for your agency. And over time, I just accumulated this audience, right? You can see around 3,500 followers. And I started with 0. And this was like not very long ago. So it'll be something like this. Every day, send 20 voice notes, follow up with them, post 3 pieces of content, use this process, plus have a good offer, book meetings guaranteed, right? And as I did this, I obviously got better at the craft of booking meetings, but I also got better at the craft of creating posts. So I knew how to make them engaging, right? I knew that every post needed a clear headline to get their attention. I knew that I needed to make it interesting so that they click the see more button and they read the rest of the post. So I learned all these skills as well. And becoming better at booking meetings and content at the same time, right? I would book the meetings from LinkedIn and they would remember me and my content because it was good. So when I did get onto the calls, they were like, hey, I love your content. I was like, really? It's the craziest feeling when you get onto a call with someone that you think you're just meeting, but they've been following your content for months. And I'll be honest, those are the easiest clients you'll ever sign because they already know you, they like you, and they trust you because they can use the information from these posts, see results, and then come back to you and say, hey, let's get the full package, right, in terms of signing up with us. So that's how I started. And then after that, I transitioned to YouTube very recently, right? The channel's been growing, I think, pretty fast, if I say so myself. But we started the YouTube like 6 months ago, maybe, and it's almost at a K now. But YouTube, even bigger, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video explaining how I started on YouTube and how I'd recommend you do the same. But for now, what I want you to do is just view sales as like a thermostat, right? So let's say this is the thermostat, right? And at the top, this is like where they'll buy, and at the bottom, this is like where they'll never buy, right? This is where they don't even know you. This is where they love you and they want to purchase what you have. So if we look at it as this incredibly accurate diagrammatic presentation, if we look at it like this, then we need to understand that we need to get prospects from here to here, and then they will buy. So the way we can get them, right, the thing that actually moves them from here to here is, let's say, positive impressions, right? This is just to oversimplify everything. So if they get something from you that's valuable, right, something that they can use in terms of useful information, and they get it over and over and over and over, it's going to move them up on this scale, okay? So let's say that, let's compare me when I started to me now. So when I started, right, I'll use red for when I started. So I sent them a message on LinkedIn. I was like, hey, I can get you more bookings every single month. I'm great at what I do. Let's do it. They'll be like, yeah, let's get on the call. And that's the only interaction that they had with me. And that is positive, right? That is it. Then we have the call for a little bit and we speak. And it gets them to like there. And then, surprisingly, they say, yeah, okay, I need to think about it. And then I wonder why. But it's pretty clear here that I didn't do much to actually build their trust and provide value and give them positive experiences to get them to the top. So then, let's see if I can change the color. See, this is what I mean by production quality. It's insanely good. But now, if we compare my YouTube to where I was before, so they could potentially see a LinkedIn post and they see one every single day. That'll get them to like here. Then they see a post of me mentioning my YouTube. They're like, oh, this guy's a YouTube. I've been following his LinkedIn for a long time. And then they see one video. And then because they see one, that's the power of YouTube. When they see one video and they watch a significant amount of it, they're going to get shown your videos all the time. I get people telling me all the time that they watch one and now they can't get away from it. So then they end up watching, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you haven't even spoke to them yet, right? Think about that. So then I reach out to them, not even knowing that they've been through all of this. And I say, hey, you want to book a call? They're like, yeah, of course I do. Then I speak to them for like 20 minutes and they sign up. It's that simple. So the key lesson is that we want to do this process of, we can call it sales, right? Sales doesn't have to be you're on a call, you're speaking to them, you're handling objections. Sales can be done at scale, and content is sales at scale. Okay? So if we can move them through this process at scale, right? And that means without you having to actually speak to them, right? This is what leverage is. You're putting a little bit of effort in to make this content, right? I'm making this video once, but hundreds of people watch it. You're putting a little bit of input in to make it, and it can be seen by hundreds, thousands, millions of people without your work, right? So if we can do this process at scale, right, using content, you're going to realize that your life is going to be easy in terms of selling, in terms of signing clients, because this is all happening without your involvement. That's the best part. So like I said, I'm going to make a video explaining how to actually create the content, but I want to give you my framework for doing it right now, the high level view, and then we'll go into the specifics on the next one. But what I like to do, and it may sound weird here, is using pain as content. Okay? So it's a very counterintuitive approach to actually creating the content. And the way I do it is in every single sales call that I have, I like to take notes on what I hear over and over and over and over. So let's say I'm on the call. And they tell me that their biggest pain point is that they're working with, hundreds of small clients. And instead of working with hundreds of small clients, they want to work with a handful of massive clients. So the pain point is that they're working with too many clients and they're paying too little. So the desire is working with only high-paying agency clients. So what I do is, because I hear this information on the call, what I do is I take note of it. I have a document where I store all of this, and then I put it right back into the YouTube ideation, right? So I have a document where I store my YouTube ideas, and what I do is I just, instead of trying to come up with some random idea like 10 millionaire morning hack routines, instead of all that, I just go straight from what I hear in terms of the sales calls and solve the problem directly. So they say, I want to work with only high-paying clients. I make a video on how to only work with high-paying agency clients. Then they're like, whoa, this guy understands me, right? Because the content that's going to be the most valuable for a prospect, for a person, is one that solves their problem directly, especially if it's a painful one. So I'm not going to try and do all these other things. I'm just going to solve their problems because I know that we can solve them, right? That's the thing. We're solving it every single day for our clients. So all I need to do is talk about it. And it's not like I have to come up with some crazy thing and spend hours preparing, because if you're actually doing the thing, then it's easy to talk about it, right? I don't have a script for this video and it's like 13 minutes because I've done this so many times. And that's the key point. If you're doing it on a daily basis, solving these problems, it's so easy to talk about. You don't need a script. You don't need all these crazy things. You just turn on Loom and get going. So I hope this gave you some clarity in terms of how to think about content. And I hope this inspires someone to actually start content, right? Again, it doesn't have to be complicated, and it will genuinely change your life, right? If you just think about why the big names are the big names, it's because they spoke about it, because they put themselves out there. And yeah, hope this was useful, and I will talk to you in the next one.